On this episode, why I have this instead of the Ask Jason mug, and why I'm saying Ask Jason. Sorry, still fresh. This real estate stuff is not easy, so send me your questions and I will answer them. This is the Ask Jason Show. Hello everybody, my name is Jason Piercey and this is episode 118 of the Ask Jason Show. Little foreshadowing. You'll catch that in the post-credit. Today I want to talk about home inspectors. Well, home inspections, sort of. The reason you hire a home inspector, what you can expect your home inspector to do, why the home inspector does and says the things that they do, and how you and your agent should be interpreting that information and then looking forward into your transaction to determine how to negotiate what to do or what not to do, whether it's money or repair, based on what an inspector says. Home inspection.
Should we address you don't have your mug?
Sure. Yeah, okay. We can address the fact that I don't have my mug. I mean, I do. If you remember, we've not made one for 2 weeks. And on the last episode, I think you saw me put that back there, or you saw me put this back there or something, and I'm like, anyway, this is the remnants from 2 weeks ago, because, oh my God, what is it? It smells like something. That's not coffee. No, it smells like, what is it? It smells like charred wood. It smells like, after a fire burns out and you see like all the char that's on it and it's got like that really smoky flavor kind of. That's exactly what it smells like. I'm serious. Smell it. Doesn't it?
It does.
Wow, what is that about?
Drink it.
No. Anyway, so I got a coffee on the way. Actually, that's a lie. I didn't get a coffee on the way. We talked about this because I came in and I had a coffee because Joe texted me this morning, 9-ish, shortly after 9, said there's no coffee here. And I was like, okay. But then I brought this and he was like, which is understandable. However, I did not get this morning on the way here. Sometimes if I get hungry in the evening, I will skip the dishes. Last night, I really wanted some nuggers. So I ordered myself some nuggers, and I don't drink soft drinks, at least not very often, a scattered time, but I didn't want one last night at like 10:30. So I ordered a large coffee with a cream, which is what I do, and I just put it in the fridge so I would have it in the morning. And I do this basically any time that I get takeout, like in the evening. It doesn't matter if I'm on the way home, either designated driver, or if I'm in a cab or somebody else is driving for me at like 1 or 2 or 3 or 5 o'clock in the morning. If I want to go to McDonald's or A&W or something, I will always get a coffee, put it in the fridge so I have a fresh coffee in the morning. And then I don't mind drinking it cold because I love cold coffee. Iced coffee to me is delicious. So this is really good. Anyway, that's why we have this and not the Ask Jason mug. Again, you'll notice. Stick around. I don't know if you guys do this, but the post-credits are probably the best part of this entire show. Joe always makes them interesting. This one is not interesting. It's disgusting. And I literally almost threw up. So, home inspectors. First of all, there is no legislation in the province of Newfoundland that governs how home inspectors become licensed and what they can and cannot do. There's no rule. There are no rules. There needs to be, and it's something that came up when we did research across the province in public forums to do like town hall meetings to talk about rewriting the Real Estate Trading Act. There are a bunch of things that came up. It will be coming into effect. Regulating home inspectors and home inspections is one of them. But home inspectors also carry errors and omissions insurance. What that means is that if they make a mistake and you make legal claim to them for their mistake, they have an insurance policy that can possibly cover the cost of the mistake that they made. So if they missed something and you sued them and it cost $5,000, they might be able to call their errors and omissions insurance. They pay out the $5,000. That's like an oversimplification of the process. The same is true for, doctors and lawyers and I think maybe some accountants also have errors and omissions insurance. And anyway, so do realtors. So it's a note of a professional category, really, if you are required by law to have errors and omissions insurance. The problem with it is that it creates a situation whereby they can protect themselves based on rules provided by their own regulatory body, like not like an external governmental one, but their own regulatory body. If they're a franchise, like if they're ABC inspectors, ABC inspectors might have a contract with a particular air and emissions insurance. A part of their agreement for like their contract to be a part of their franchise or the work under their brand might be, these are things you have to do to protect your airs and emissions contract. And one of those things is going to be referring the buyer to a qualified professional in each individual subfield of what they see in a house. So what that means is if they see something that is stands out to them as a potential structural issue, they don't need to know building code. They don't need to know anything about when code changed, or like they don't need to know that like a 2x10 joist in a floor can span 12 or 14 or 16 or 18 feet. Like they don't need to know any of those things. They just need to be able to look at it and say, I'm not 100% about this. You need to speak to a qualified contractor in the field. So obvious things are obvious. You know, I turn the water and no water comes out. There's a plumbing issue. Fix that. There is a leak here. Fix that. There is like this window isn't a window. It's a hole in the wall. Fix that. Those very obvious things, those aren't a problem. But when it's something that the home inspector has a feeling it needs to be looked at, and I'm not crapping on home inspectors. This is a very valuable service. But when it's outside of their individual area of expertise and they get a feeling that it isn't quite right, but they don't have a knowledge enough of electrical systems to be able to say whether or not it's a problem, there's just something in their head that they're not sure about. And if they're not sure and they're the inspector, they need to tell you that because that's their job. You're paying them $600 for it. But on top of that, they also need to say, have assessed by a qualified contractor. But if you want to get a busy electrician to come into your house on a Saturday for an emergency call because your house closes in a week or something, that inspector's getting you to spend a great deal of money. Home inspectors kind of do two things when they look through a house. They point out all of the stuff that's sort of obvious. This is rotten. I can put my finger in the wood. That means it's not wood anymore. It's decaying, right? There is a big leak here. I can tell because there is water. They point out all of those things. They'll just say your water heater is warranted for 6 years. This one is 12 years old. This is approaching its design life expectancy. It's well past it. They point out things that are obvious. They point out things that you should be keeping an eye on for future maintenance. That one is not something you negotiate with. They're giving you advice on how to be a homeowner. And the third one is they're pointing out things that they don't know whether they are problems or not, but they feel like you should investigate it. And that's where they walk around and say, have a pro look at this, have a pro look at this, have a pro look at this, have a pro look at this. And that can be translated into, I'm not sure, but a seller could spend money on this, could spend money on this, could spend money on this, and could spend money on this. The issue that creates is that they know just enough to not know enough, and they're causing a problem. Sometimes. Because if they don't understand, I had a home inspector go into a house, get up on the roof and look around and say, there's no venting here in this attic anywhere. I don't see any vent stacks. I don't see anything. I don't see nothing. Like, dude, it's called a ridge vent. It's in the peak. There's one in every peak. You could it's all there. Like, this house was built 6 years ago. Everything has a ridge vent. Sometimes, and not all home inspectors are created equal, just like not all realtors are created equal, just like not all boyfriends are created equal. Some people are just better at stuff than other people are at the same stuff. Joe is a better guitar player than me. Joe is a better singer than me. Joe is a better videography, photographer, editor. He's better at all of those things than I am. He's way better on that side of the camera. On this side of the camera, I would like to argue that I will do a better job. Boo! He's better at booing than me. Actually, I'm willing to bet I do a better boo than you do. Do you want to boo off? Let's boo off. Okay, your turn. Boo! See? Mine was better, wasn't it? I think it's because it was deeper. I went into here with my boo. I went into here with my boo. And I went boo. Anyway, so that is a progressive issue with home inspectors. Are we out of time? Where I'm 1 minute past? We get just shorten the video and edit by a minute and we'll be fine. That's how that works. So what all of this means is when a home inspector says have evaluated by a qualified professional, that isn't the same as saying this is a problem. That's them saying, I don't know if this is a problem or not. But if I tell you it's not, I'm doing wrong by my errors and omissions insurance policy. So I need to tell you that I don't know enough about this to pass or fail it. So you need to go get somebody else instead of me. That's exactly what that means. So if an inspector says have evaluated by a qualified professional, that means I don't know if this is a problem or not. It's as simple as that. That's all that it means. If you see discoloration on the underside of the roof sheeting in your attic, then they might be like, signs of discoloration, have evaluated by a hazardous materials assessment and abatement company. Maybe it's mold. That sounds really, really, really scary. But the truth is, as somebody who's been in the industry for a long time, I can look at a picture of discoloration in the wall, in your ceiling sheeting, or your roof sheeting, and see how any of the structure, the rafters from a truss, lays, in one section, and then the sheeting is behind it. Then you can see discoloration on the sheeting, but it doesn't continue up the side of that truss or any of the structure that supports the sheeting, but it continues behind. So here's what this tells me. This tells me that discoloration was there before that was screwed onto the truss. That tells me that. So a home inspector will look at that and say, I don't know enough about this to tell you whether or not it's good or not. So you need somebody to look at it. And the somebody you need to look at it is somebody who's qualified to assess mold and then qualified to remove it if it's required. That's called remediation because mold can be dangerous in its most severe forms. So be careful of this house. But all it really means is this house is stick built. In a climate, stick built means built outside piece by piece, not like in a factory and then shipped out and installed on a foundation, which is called like a modular home, which is also a very, very effective way to build things. Not the same as a trailer. So because it's stick built and in the elements, the wood was laying on the ground for a few days and it might have got wet, and that's okay. We live in a rock in the middle of the North Atlantic. Sometimes we have this stuff called precipitation. Google it. It's a very complicated word, but it happens a lot here. That stuff gets discolored. That's just what happens. And then you screw that down on top of a piece of 2x4 or 2x6 or whatever, and the discoloration continues on your sheeting across, and then this is here, but the discoloration doesn't go down onto any of the structure. The discoloration was there before the house was built. But an inspector is going to look at it and say, call a remediation specialist to make sure this isn't a problem. All they're saying is, I don't know if this is a problem or not, but my errors and omissions insurance will get mad at me if I don't say this. So I could talk about this topic for a long, long time. Joe is not happy about that because we're already over by 5 minutes and he's kicking me out because he needs to drive to Paradise to take photos of a house, which is apparently more important than the Ask Jason show. I said ask that time because I'm mad at him and I don't want him to get his funny little disgusting post-credit quip in. I don't know if there's a resolution to this. There's no particular advice other than treating things with a grain of salt and understanding where the information comes from and why it's delivered the way that it is delivered. What? I was just about to say that's it. I mean, I said it once. Do I need to say it again? Joe thinks I'm at risk of shitting on home inspectors. I'm not. Part of the dynamic that Director Joe and I have is that I can get off on a tangent and I can really get going on a topic, and sometimes I'll be impassioned about it and I'll use hyperbole. It's a literary device. I'm taking stuff to an extreme to prove a point. And if you're not familiar with my personality or my shtick, or like there's a home inspector that like I recommend home inspectors all the time. One of them is branded at the end of this show, every show, like 100 freaking episodes. Home inspectors are important. I think you guys are amazing. And I want you to continue doing your job. My problem is not with the home inspectors. My problem is both with the buyer and the buyer's agent in how they interpret what a home inspector's language means, what it's meant to mean, the motivation behind how it's worded, and how to communicate that to a seller if there's something that you need further investigation on. That's all I'm saying. It's all about communication. Is that okay now? All right. Thank you for watching. This has been episode 118 of the Ask Jason Show. We'll see you next time. The Ask Jason Show exists so that you can get good real estate related information from a resource that you can trust. Now, speaking of resources you can trust, here's a couple I would trust to work with my mom. Because good enough for mom, I mean, good enough for you. Help!
Wait.
No, don't do it! Don't, no. I can't. Oh my God.